Dear students, Assalamu alaikum. This presentation is brought to you by Mati-Ullah-Khattak. Our topic is The Merchant of Venice, a play which is written by William Shakespeare. Be alive to these objectives while listening to the lecture. At the end of this lesson, you must be able to know the concept of a comedy, a tragedy, and a tragicomedy. You must be able to know that taking revenge is a curse forever, and the concept of a true friendship must be clear to you. And then you must be able to appreciate the character of Shylock, Antonio, Bassanio, Portia, Nerissa, and Grecian. In our last lecture, we learned that Shylock was trying his best somehow to entrap or to catch Antonio to sign in the bond. So Bassanio forbade him to commit such a mistake. But he, I mean to say Antonio, continued with it without giving any consideration to his friend's advice. Now let us see what happens next. It lost against the advice of Bassanio, who, notwithstanding all the Jew had said of his kind intentions, he did not like his friend should run the hazard of this shocking penalty for his sake. Antonio signed the bond, thinking it really was, as the Jews said, merely in support. So, in this paragraph, you can see that Antonio went against the advice of his friend Bassanio. Notwithstanding means despite. Despite all the Jew had said. What the Jew had said, he told them that I am not going to be enemy with you. I'm not going to harm you. I'm not going to do anything bad to you. You did good, bad things to me in the past, but I'm here to forget all about those bad things you did to me in the past. So these were his kind intentions. But Bassanio did not believe, trust in his conversation. That's why he asked his friend not to sign the bond. He did not like, this is Bassanio did not like his friend should run the hazard of this shocking penalty, this terrible, terrible penalty. Penalty means punishment for his sake, for Antonio's sake. So he did not like that his friend should face this terrible punishment for his sake. But Antonio signed the bond, and he was thinking that it was really nothing serious. It was really a fun, as the Jew had said to him that you should not take it seriously, you should take it as a play. You should take it something funny. And Antonio at once believed it. Then we come to know that the rich heiress that Bassanio wished to marry lived near Venice. So this is the second important thing you must notice, that she was living near Venice at a place that was called Belmont. So Belmont needs to be point out. Her name was Portia, and in the graces of her person and her mind, she was nothing inferior to the Portia of whom we read, who was Cato's daughter and the wife of Brutus. So Portia is also a historical figure, and here we come to know that she was the daughter of Catus, and she was the not this one, as we are dealing with the Merchant of Venice in the play Merchant of Venice. This one is a historical figure whose name was Portia, and she was the daughter of Cato and the wife of Brutus, and uh, she was very good in heart and mind, And the writer tells us here that this Portia of ours, as we are uh, teaching about in this play, The Merchant of Venice, this one was no inferior in her qualities, graces, in her qualities to that Portia, who is a historical figure. So this is the very part of her character. You must keep these sentences in mind. Bassanio being so kindly supplied with money by his friend Antonio at the hazard of his life. So Bassanio was supplied kindly, generously by his friend with money that he required, but at the cost of his life, he put his life into danger. He set out for Belmont. He set off. Set out means set off. वो रवाना हो गया बेलमंट की तरफ with a splendid train, एक शानदार अंदाज के साथ, and attended. He was attended by a gentleman of the name of Griciano. So this is Griciano is his attendant. He was also going along with him. Now, when they reached there, Bassanio proved successful in his suit. In his proposal, he became, he proved successful. So, suit means proposal that he made for marriage. Uh, mm, Portia, in a short time, consented. Consented means she agreed. In a very short time, she agreed to accept of him for a husband. So, Bassanio was accepted by Portia to be her husband in the future. Now, what does Bassanio do? Bassanio confessed to Portia that he had no fortune. Fortune is, wealth. He confess means admit to accept something, to clearly say something without hiding anything. So Bassanio confessed, he admitted, he accepted in front of Portia that I have no wealth and that his high birth and noble ancestry was all that he would boast of. Boast of means feel proud of. Bassanio told Portia that if I have anything to be proud of, that then it is only my high birth, my nobility, my gentility. Otherwise, I have nothing to feel proud of. But Portia, she loved him for his worthy qualities. If she loved him, it was not for wealth, it was for his good qualities. He had some qualities of heart and mind, and she loved him for that, and had riches enough to not to regard wealth in a husband. And she was so rich that she did not consider wealth to be the quality, to be the merit of a husband for her. She answered with the graceful modesty. Modesty means the quality of being honorable. So she answered with a graceful, with a very charmful, with a very in a very honorable manner, that she would wish herself 1,000 times more fair and 1,000 times more rich to be more worthy of him. As you can guess from her answer, that she is a lady of great qualities of heart and mind, she replied him that if she ever wished to marry a person for his wealth and his being fair, then he should be 10,000 times more rich, and he should be 10,000 times more rich and to be more worthy of him, and he should be of more value than you are. So this is how he she uh, she says to him that I would like to love a person who has wealth which is 10,000 times more than you have at the present time, and he should be 10,000 times more worthy of what you are right now. And then the accomplished Portia prettily displays herself, accomplished this perfect lady in a very beautiful manner, described herself of a very low birth. Dispraised means devalue, to belittle yourself in front of somebody. So, in a very beautiful manner, prettily, she dispraised herself. She described herself of a very low position and said she was an unlessoned girl, unschooled, unpracticed. And so she tells him that I am unlessoned. Unlessoned, unschooled means I'm not. I am not a lady of any experience. I have no knowledge. I have learned nothing in my life. So unpracticed, and I am unexperienced, am matured, yet not so old that she could not learn. But and she further tells him that I am not so old. I am still young, and I can learn a lot of things from you. And that she would commit her gentle spirit to be directed and governed by him in all things. And the more important thing, which is the quality of being a good lady, a lady of quality, she tells him that she would commit her gentle spirit. She would devote her young spirit to be directed and governed by him in all things. That I would like to obey you and follow your direction, governed and directed. Obey you and follow your direction, your guidelines you gave to me in all things and every activity of my life. She said, myself and what is mine to you and your is now converted. So, what is her to you and your is now converted? It is converted to you, it is given to you. But yesterday, Bassanio, I was the lady of this fair mansion. So, mansion means this palace, this villa. I was the mistress. I was governing all these things in this palace, in this villa. I was, so mention is used for palace, villa. I was the queen of myself and I was the mistress of these servants. I was governing them. They were my servants. Now this house is yours. But this house now belongs to you. These servants belongs to you, myself and yours. All these things, including me, are yours. Now you are my lord. I gave them with this ring, and she offers, presents, she extends her hand towards him and presents him with a ring, presenting a ring to Bassanio. Bassanio was so overpowered with gratitude. Gratitude means thankfulness. Overpowered means he was overwhelmed. He was heavy with. He was so heavy with gratitude and wonder at the gracious manner in which the rich and noble Portia accepted of a man of his humble fortune, that he would not express his joy and reverence to the dear lady who so honored him by anything but broken words of love and thankfulness. And taking the ring, he vowed never to part with it. So the important thing that he took the ring and he promised. Vowed means to promise seriously, very much like you take an oath. He promised seriously that I would never part with this ring. इस अंगूठी को मैं खुद से कभी अलग नहीं करूंगा या मैं इससे कभी खुद को अलग नहीं करूंगा. So this was the promise he made to Portia when he was leaving. And the writer tells us that He was so overwhelmed. He was so heavy with the emotions, with the passion, with the emotions, with feelings of gratitude, thankfulness, and wonder at this gracious manner and the beautiful manner that she presented herself in front of this man who had a very humble fortune. Humble here, weak fortune, wealth. He had no fortune at all, and a lady of great fortune so presented in herself in front of him. So he was much overwhelmed by feelings of thankfulness, but he said nothing. He would not express his joy. But he did not express his joy and reverence. Reverence means respect to the dear lady, to this lady who so honored him by anything but broken words of love and thankfulness. At this moment, if he said anything, it was but a few words of love and thankfulness. And at the end, as you listened, he told her that I would never part with this ring. So let us see the next paragraph. Graciano and Neresa. Graciano is in attendant with Bassanio, and Neresa is in attendant with Portia. So she was Portia's waiting maid. Waiting maid means she was in attendant, were in attendance upon this lord and lady. They were witnessing. Attendance here means they were witnessing, they were viewing, they were watching this lord and lady when they were doing this business of marriage, this love business, when Portia so gracefully promised to become the obedient wife of Bassanio. And they were listening to this dialogue when Portia, in a very graceful manner, promised Bassanio to be his obedient wife. And Grishanu, now wishing Bassanio and the generous lady joy, he requested, if you approve of. This means Grishanu wishing Bassanio and the generous lady joy. It means he wished their approval, their willingness. If you like, he desired permission to be married at the same time. He also expressed his desire that we too want to be married at the same time. Which two, Grishano and Neresa. So this was Grishano who asked Bassanio, if you two uh, gave this permission, we would also like to get married at the same time, at the same moment. With all my heart, Grishano and Bassanio, if you can get a wife. Now, Portia replied, I am ready. I am ready to give you this permission, Grishano. And Bassanio, and he looks and she looks toward Bassanio. If you can get a wife, I am ready to give you this permission open heartedly. I would not like to come in the middle. I would not like to become a hurdle. You can get a wife. It is a good thing to do. So Grishano then said that he loved the lady Portia's fair waiting gentlewoman Neresa. Now Grishano openly said that he loved the ladies Portia's fair waiting gentlewoman. Fair waiting gentleman woman means this beautiful attendant gentlewoman of the Portia, whose name is Neresa, and that she had promised to be his wife. And he further told them that she has also made this promise to become my wife, but on one condition, and that condition is if her lady marries Bassanio and she gives permission to her, if her lady married Bassanio. So this was the condition that was set up by Neresa to Greciano. If my lady marries Bassanio, I would also like to marry you. So Portia asked Neresa if this was true. Portia confirmed it from Nerissa. If the statement is true, Nerissa replied, Madam, it is so. It is so. If you approve of it, it is very much right. It is right. If you approve of, if you permit me, if you give me the permission. Portia willingly consenting. So Portia willingly consenting, Bassanio pleasantly said, so she consented by her own will. She agreed by her own will. Then our wedding feast shall much be honored by your marriage, Gratian. Then both of them, I mean to say, Bassanio and Portia, they turned to Gratiano and Nerissa and told them, if this is the case, then our wedding feast, then our marriage ceremony shall be much honored by your marriage, Gratiano, will get more importance, will get multiplied in its dignity if your marriage is arranged to Gratiano and Nerissa. So they appreciated their effort for marriage as well and decided that their marriage will be their marriage will be arranged at the same time when Bassanio's and Portia's marriage celebration are held. So you can say they congratulated in a way Grishano that it will be a great honor for us if your marriage is finalized at the same day as well. The happiness of these lovers was sadly crossed. Now this happy moment of these lovers was sadly interrupted at this moment by the entrance of a messenger. Now a messenger comes and he interrupts them. He enters the room, he interrupts them, and he gives them a very bad message, which the writer says that they were sadly crossed at this moment by the entrance of a messenger. A messenger enters the room and he interrupts them and gives them a very bad message. What was the message? Who brought a letter from Antonio? He had brought a letter from Antonio, and the letter contained some fearful tidings, some terrible news. And what was the terrible news? When Bassanio read Antonio's letter, when he started reading this letter, Portia feared it was to tell him of the death of some dear friend. Portia guessed from his face that this letter is going to tell him about the death of some dear friend because he looked so pale, because he was looking so pale. Now this is the end of this lecture. In the next lecture you will come to know what did the letter contain. If you feel that there is something for you which is difficult to understand, do write it in the comment box. Thank you very much.